just being fed.
You're being fed instead of deciding. Decide is a beautiful word, and I can never remember the Latin words and stuff like that. But it actually comes from a combination of words that is almost like making a decision is becoming, in a way, God in your own moment.
Okay.
Because there's that moment where you change your life through the decision that you make.
But if I've lived the illusion of thinking I'm making decisions, but actually I'm being fed, then will I really be deciding then? Or is there something else? Then beauty won't be
that's
there.
That's tradition, that's peer pressure from dead people. So often, if you think about our generation, we were brought up to listen.
Absolutely.
To your elders, to do what's expected from you, to fit into society, the little box, and to act the way you think people think you should be acting. We don't need to go to prison. We live in prison, the prisons of our own minds. So when are you going to decide to set yourself free and step up to who you really are? And you know what? It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been through situations where, some people have called me an alien, where I
alien
in the community I live, because I'm just so different that some people can't grasp who I am.
Yes.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's really okay. My sons jokingly call my car the mothership. Because where everybody in the community is driving one type of vehicle, mine is like there isn't another one.
It's a different one.
It's just a different make. You hardly see any of them on the road, and it's just because I resonated with it. So, but the thing is, you have to make that decision that you're going to play by your own rules. And that does not mean that you have
lawless
to
or
not respecting other people.
Exactly.
I think if anything, it enhances respect for other people when you start to play by your own rules. When you start to respect yourself, you have even more respect for other people's views.
Yes.
And you don't have to agree with it to respect it.
Exactly. Once again, we don't really looking for conforming. We're looking for the individual.
Yes. What makes you stand out? So you know what's so interesting to me? So at school, you have this 12 years that you are...
It's supposed to prepare you for the rest of your life.
Yes, and in those 12 years, you are told how to conform, how to fit in, how to do everything in a way that everybody else does it.
That's true. Yeah.
But now you get to the workplace.
Yeah.
And suddenly there are 500 of you that wants the same job.
Exactly.
And there the boss sits with 500 applications, and he's not looking for who is fitting in.
He's looking
for that. Who is the person from this pile that stands out? So why do you want to fit in?
But if we've been trained to do that, now we've got to change all of this. So it's not so easy.
So it's the awareness. And you know what? It's fine. Some people just wants to fit in. And,
It's not a
it's
problem.
fine. It's not a problem. The thing is, if you want to do something radical in your life, if you want to do something that's never been done before
Maybe you've
in
got that
your life.
feeling that you're supposed to be doing something else.
Yes.
And exactly.
And if you want to do that, you have to find your unique way of looking at things. And sometimes that means turning things upside down. If you think about a child when they explore a new toy, I mean, they don't take the new toy and here's the toy. They take it and they see what happens if I pull on this, if I shake it, maybe if I taste it, pull it, smell it,
throw it,
and see how, if it hops.
See what I can do with this.
Yes. They don't take life and say, oh, here's life. Can I see the catalogue, please? They take life and they explore it. They feel. They feel the frustration if they can't pull the head off, or they feel the shock when they do pull the head off, and then they go try to put it back, and maybe it does slip back, and they say, "Oh, I did this, I can fix things. Maybe I can become a fixer in life,
Yes.
But it's about exploring, and that happens in such a beautiful, natural way. It doesn't happen in a clinical environment. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to get into experiencing life. In the end, all experience is good experience if you can acknowledge the good that comes from a bad experience.
So interesting. It brings to mind, I was just chatting to my son and we were talking about how good it is to not always be comfortable. Our society is so much about, it's got to be the chair, a comfort food, everything's easily accessible. Because then when we are uncomfortable, we don't know what to do.
So how can you stretch your life?
If you get used to that little bit of discomfort.
Yes. So what is it that you can do today that is just slightly uncomfortable so that you can become comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Absolutely.
If you think about balance, to find a new balance, you first have to kind of throw it off balance.
Yes.
And then you get people with a sense of balance that is just mind-blowing.
It is.
I mean, the other day I saw a guy taking a whole table, balancing it on the tip of his chin. And I just go,
word.
My goodness, that's a sense of balance, It's
that's amazing.
And how many times did he have to go totally off balance
for it to fall
Yes.
and again and again and again.
And if you think about balance, if you think about walking is a contradiction between falling forward and picking yourself up.
So that's the only way of going forward.
It's the only way. You kind of have to throw yourself off balance and regain balance. And you keep doing it every day. You are doing it every day. Without realizing it.
That's incredible, eh?
So, are you prepared to step it up?
On another level.
On another level, in a different field of your life. And how far are you willing to challenge yourself to just feel that little bit of discomfort so that you can stretch yourself? If you think about a ballet dancer, many moons ago I used to have a dancing studio and used to love that. I still love dancing.
Do you love watching it?
Oh, no, I still love doing it. I mean, no, you've got to move. I mean, if the music's inside you, move.
If the music's, yes, absolutely.
You have to move to your own music. You have to move to your own rhythm and your own beat. But if you think about ballet dancers, wanting to split, for instance, it doesn't happen overnight.
No,
it's little bits of stretch. But the difference is
it's a stretching with a strengthening.
That's right. That beautiful term, lengthen to strengthen.
Yes.
So you lengthen the muscle to strengthen it.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of relax into it.
Exactly.
And it's a bit of
I've
discomfort.
gone there before.
Yes. But then you grow into it. You know, you relax into it. And you allow yourself to relax into it more. And then one day you can do a split. And it's amazing. And and then you can maybe take it to another level, to where you strengthen your muscles to the point where you can do a vertical split straight up without having to stand against something. Because you've strengthened your core and you've trained those muscles, and our brains are the same. We strengthen our core, we train our muscles, we train our thinking. Just like other people might have been training our thinking to think bad thoughts about ourselves.
Which is doing the opposite.
Yeah, now you can train your thinking to get you to where you want to be. But that's one of the beautiful things. You have to first choose. You have to set some goals. You have to decide, this is point A, I want to get to point B. But there might be some milestones.
To reach in between.
You don't climb Mount Everest starting in South Africa.
Oh, no.
But you do climb Mount Everest starting in South Africa.
You do, yes. It's like a
so it's that contradiction. But to be able to summit Mount Everest, you have to go through a few preparations and a few steps. And then you also get from base camp to the next camp, to the next camp.
How are you doing at the next camp? Check out what's going there. Then they take you to the next one. See how you're working.
Yeah.
And if you don't...
And if things still okay?
Correct.
Are we still on track? And how is my system responding to what I'm doing?
The changes, yes.
Can I go on, or should I maybe take a step back? Yeah. What is safe? So there it brings us to something else. When we become aware of how our bodies can keep us safe in situations. If we can, for instance, have you ever driven into a parking lot and suddenly the hair in your neck goes like, it rises, you get this, it's like, I don't want to be
wrong
here.
place.
Wrong place, get out of
here. But what do we do? A lot of people, no, it's just my imagination.
I'm sorry, it's not my imagination. There's something. Trust your core. Trust your inner voice. It's there as a safety net.
To guide you.
Just like your immune system. I mean, your immune system...
It's incredible.
Is fantastic. Something comes up that should not be there and your immune system reacts.
Starts working.
So why not listen to that inner voice that keeps us safe? And that's not giving into fear. There's a difference. There's a difference between being fearful and being aware.
Aware and saying, this is not what I like.
Yeah, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it in my body?
Exactly, yes.
Why might I be feeling this?
Mm.
And sometimes it might be a trigger.
Could be.
It might be something that happened to you previously, that your brain goes back into that old reactions. That's where something like PTSD comes in. But you can actually break through that. Because if you go to subconscious levels, you can actually go back into the patterns, and you can change the patterns once you understand where a pattern comes from. And it might be at birth. It might be
even before
birth.
Yeah.
It might be it's usually within the first 2 or 3 years of your life where patterns get built. And like you can't remember your first time.
So how would I know?
Yeah.
I'm
those first steps just happened.
I'm living with this pattern. I had it from when. Now I'm continuing, but it's not benefiting me.
And the thing is, every time you give in to it, it becomes stronger. So what are the things that you want to strengthen in your life? Is it the bad patterns? Or do you want to create new patterns that strengthens you? If you think about something like reflexes in the brain, that's an area that we can also talk about for days. Just thinking about someone that's trying to give up smoking. It might be
willpower.
They're doing all those things, but it might be that there's a reflex in the brain, like the sucking reflex, for instance, where if you think about children sucking their thumbs and stuff like that,
it's all falling
under that category.
And it's once again linked, like you said, to that survival.
Yes.
If I have a trigger, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling unsafe, or I don't know what to do, then children tend to then suck the thumb, or people are saying, I need a smoke break.
Yes. And what's interesting, if you think about a child sucking their thumb, if you think about pressure points.
Oh, interesting, yes.
Where you put your thumb in your mouth and you press on the palate is the closest pressure point you can physically get to balancing the emotional part of the brain.
Oh my word.
So when a child sucks its thumb, his or her thumb,
it's actually busy calming itself down,
trying to balance that part of the brain. And now you go, so
you're not allowed to do that,
but now we're not don't suck that.
But they've only got that as a resource.
Exactly, and it's a natural resource. So once you get to that and you start understanding those very interesting intricacies of the brain and of human reaction and human nature, then you can start releasing the patterns that is underneath and rebuilding new patterns and the new things you want to bring in.